Hello and welcome to The Boy and the Bear. Well, football is a wild game. One team is 13 points behind in a title race, has lost 4 home games in a row, but are feeling pretty good about themselves, whereas the other one is on for a treble, but hurting quite a lot this week. I'm Stephen, the mediator of this podcast, and as always, I am joined by our resident boy and bear, Paddy and Scott. First of all, Paddy boy, how are we doing?
I have been better. Ready to take my medicine this week. I was feeling absolutely fine last podcast, and quite a lot of the lovely folks on TikTok said that I looked absolutely raging. So God knows how I'm going to look this week when I actually am absolutely raging.
How much did it mean to you losing?
Oh, look, that was everything.
Just as much as ever?
That was it. That was a big game. No excuses, no hiding places.
Scotty boy, I feel it's only fair to give the floor straight to you, mate.
What a week, boys, eh? Fantastic, eh? Brilliant. I've just put a lottery ticket on. I've bought a new house. It's great. I've just put all my winnings on Barry becoming the manager. I'm only joking. But what a week to be a Rangers fan. It's been superb.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't need
we
any
glow
props.
about me. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't want to waste too much time letting you rub it in Pat's face. So we're going to go straight onto the compliments, though. And I'm sure Pat will have one this week, unlike last week. So, Paddy boy.
This week, it's a lot of humble pie. It's, everything we slated Barry Ferguson for coming in and saying, like, the Celtic fans ripped him for going on about dig and fight in these derby games, but you still need to have it on the day. Like, I think it's just, we've expected that from Celtic in these games for so long, but in the last 2 derby games, the one in January and the one just gone, there's been zero fight and zero dig, and Rangers, despite playing 120 minutes and penalties on Thursday, wanted it more, and that's unacceptable. But I have to compliment Rangers for turning up, and clearly the mental hoodoo that Celtic had over them for years and years that's gone. And so congratulations to them.
So just to clarify, your compliment to Rangers turning up?
No, my compliment is to them coming in and essentially demonstrating everything Celtic didn't have, because even they could have gone in with excuses on Thursday and having a long night, and even though they did tire a wee bit in the second half, they had dig and they fought to the end, and Celtic didn't. So world-class basics, I think not, Brendan. Barry had it in spades, and that is embarrassing and unacceptable.
Yeah, well, it's taken me approximately 3 minutes to let everybody know that I was actually at the game, and I couldn't agree anymore. There was absolutely nothing about yous whatsoever, and if Rangers didn't have to sub Balogun, and yeah, I thought Robin Roberts quite, but yeah, I think that's the only reason you got your 2 goals, because apart from that, you were absolutely brutal. But Scotty boy, your compliment for Pat?
I think the only compliment is McGregor, isn't it? Like, he is evident as to how you play. You've spent £11 million on Engels, and just not even a shadow couldn't lace McGregor's boots. And I think that's a compliment to him, but obviously shows maybe the over-reliance on him to how Celtic play. So compliment to you this week is Callum McGregor's obviously the biggest loss.
Yeah, notable in his absence, but maybe McGregor's a good place to start with this podcast, because clearly he was clearly missing. Like, I was watching the game with my brother, and so many passages of play we were both saying the reason these players are so alone with the ball right now is because that's usually where McGregor is running in, providing an option for someone to pass it, and then he starts the attack. Although I do think it has to be said, and it's an important point to say, that McGregor was also playing at Ibrox in January, and Rangers midfield ran over the top of him. And back then we thought it was a dead rubber and it didn't matter, and we wrote it off. We said, we'll get them back at Parkhead. And even without McGregor, it didn't change. So, yes, I've been, since we started this podcast, I've been trying to stress to both of you how important I think McGregor's been for Celtic and for Scotland, and how good a player he is. And we always go on about how we're not developing enough youth talent within Rangers and Celtic and Glasgow, but the answer is right there, and has been right there for the last 10 years in the middle of Celtic's pitch. It's, our captain. And I think he maybe would have made a marginal difference in that game, but the other key players for Celtic, Johnson had his worst game in a Celtic shirt that I've seen. He's had a great season apart from that, really, but he was woeful. Carter Vickers and Kasper Schmeichel, who have been brilliant all season, decided to have their worst games on Sunday. There was just a real void where McGregor gives you leadership and he gives you that, vocality and instruction in the middle of the park, always looking for the ball, he's not afraid to put a tackle in. But all the other guys that usually step up to these occasions posted missing, decided to have their worst game in a Celtic top at the weekend in one of the biggest games.
Is it a game where you look at Engels though and you go, what's going on here? Because we've only said once or twice since we've been doing this podcast that Matt O'Reilly's been missed, and I was sitting there going at the game of the weekend going, there's no triangles being played here, there's no balls around the corners, there's no link up play, and yeah, I
agree. I think you could equally point fingers at the entirety of Celtic's midfield because they went missing. The assignment shouldn't have been difficult. You've got Jota, Maida and Kuhn, who are all absolutely rapid. All you need to really do is get the ball out to them, and for some reason all we were doing was passing it back to the defence. And I think that a lot of that blame goes back to the manager, because having one player out in Callum McGregor shouldn't dictate, it shouldn't mean you end up with a performance level of that. So even if McGregor was there playing at his best yesterday, he wouldn't have won us that game because the performance across the rest of the board was so bad. I don't think it's fair to single out Engels and say 11 million, that's a joke, because overall, over the piece, he's had a good season, and he's a young player, and he's shown at the highest level that he can do it. He played really well against Bayern and in other Champions League games, so we know there's a player there. But for whatever reason, Celtic have decided not really to show up in the last 3 derby games, and I think it feels like there's a complacency there or a mentality switch there.
Does any part of you actually think that it's a quality situation where Rangers are actually on their day are every bit as good as Celtic, and it's just a consistency issue from Rangers why they aren't challenging for the league?
If Rangers hadn't shat themselves in every other game this season, then that could have been a absolutely defining point in the title race. Weirdly, last season it came down to the Celtic Rangers games, and Celtic won, I think, all of them.
Up until the very last one, I think.
Yeah.
Is it not? Yeah.
Whereas this season's been completely different because, if we get beat at Ibrox next month, which on that showing you'd fully expect us to, we'd have lost 3 out of 4 and still win the league comfortably. So if Rangers can get their act together, I don't know. I mean, there's multiple reasons for that result. One of which is clearly that Barry's got reaction out of this Rangers team. But the other reasons, it's kind of inexplicable to me that Celtic can go to the Allianz and draw 1 each, but then, come up in another game that means just as much and fail to turn up. That feels like a failure of management.
But that's why I was asking, because this is the same Rangers team that won 3-1 away to Fenerbahce, who are, they're not in the Champions League, but the Champions League, they could be a Champions League quality team at any other season.
I still think with both squads and the managers, and the options available to both managers, that this Celtic team should be beating that Rangers team. And this to me is it's either a masterstroke from Barry Ferguson or it's a disaster from Rodgers.
But just to continue with yourself then, Pat, if your comment piece for Scott, please.
My comment piece question for Scotty. So just for any new listeners, these comment piece questions are questions designed to slightly provoke, but we have to remain calm. That's why we say we come in peace at the start of this. So, Scott, my comment piece to you is, actually, to be honest, I don't think there's anything I'm about to say that you'll disagree with. Celtic fans like me are eating a lot of humble pie, like I said at the start of the podcast, regarding Barry Ferguson's appointment, which the 3 of us ridiculed, by the way, in the last podcast episode. So it's not just me.
No, I didn't ridicule. I was just taking the piss out of it.
No, I think the 3 of us
we were just providing supporting evidence to your point.
But I think it's fair to say that even Rangers fans didn't see this turnaround coming, with progression in the Europa League and beating Celtic at Parkhead. So if, like Celtic did with Lennon about 15 years ago, appoint a guy that's clearly getting a reaction from a struggling group of players, how would you honestly feel if at the end of the season he signed on as your manager?
Good question. I've been, obviously, immediately after, like Sunday, you're like, just game the job, just game it. He's instilled that belief back in.
Give him the job in the shower.
He's kind of provided that little bit of spark and the connections back again between the players and the fans. But and then obviously he goes out and provides an absolute masterstroke over in Turkey, and then manages to get the players to hang on and dig deep at Ibrox. And you always knew that the second leg of the Fenerbahce game was going to be difficult. I didn't expect it. I remember thinking, oh God, here we go, 2-0, we're getting papped out. But fair play. And then again on Sunday when you guys clawed the 2 goals back, I thought, because here we go, I've seen this one too many times. But he's definitely instilled something that wasn't there before. Would I give it to him? I don't think I would, but
I suppose my question is, if he does get the job at the end of the season, which he might at this rate, how are you going to feel about it?
I wouldn't be overly disappointed, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't. It's not going to be like, oh, it's Barry. Do you know what I mean? Because I think he's done a great job, and he does carry himself well when he does get interviewed. You know, he speaks very well. He doesn't really give too much away. He's not
when he's trying to say his formation out loud.
Yeah. I mean,
that was hilarious.
And that was so funny.
2, 3, 4. Aye.
I mean, you can understand. He's probably just absolutely elated and adrenaline dump and stuff. But I don't know. Like
Scotty Arfield's face when that was.
That was so funny, man. It was brilliant. I wouldn't be disappointed. Would it fill me with? Do I think he could do it over a season or get progression into Europe from the start? Maybe not. But from a domestic point of view, I do think we put up more of a challenge. So in that regard, I wouldn't be too disappointed if he was to sign. I think it's maybe what we need right now. Maybe something just to come in and say good group of players, but you need to understand it's not just about turn up one in every 3 games. It's every game matters, and we've said that before. We've all said that a few times, and some people don't get it. And you know, it's Rangers and Celtic. It's only the Scottish League, but you have to perform. These, you know, you guys, the players, the teams are the richest teams in this league. You have to perform. You know, and I don't think a lot of players coming from Europe understand those demands.
Jeffrey Shutt, Premier League player, had an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
Just you know, you can be as physical or as technical as you want.
Well, it's like
he was done.
I look at Dessers and I look at like Tavernier, for example, the 2 guys that I have slated on here this year, and you know, said that
numerous times.
No, I wouldn't do that, would I? No. But you know, like for and all jokes aside, like they have been fairly poor. But I think Barry said something in an interview that basically, or James Tavernier said it, that Barry came in and said, "Look, you're gonna be my captain, but I'll be honest with you, you need to pull your finger at it. It's not good enough." And you've seen the last couple of games, he's actually performed really well. You know, he did quite well against Maeda all game. He had some great last-ditch tackles in the Fenerbahce game. And so I do think he's got a response out of some of these players that maybe were just fed up with listening to Clement. Maybe it's a clear direction. So I think there is positives for Barry to sign on. So yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed.
Do you think he'll get it?
No, I don't. I just think the new owners will probably want to go in a different direction.
Hey, can I get an alternative view?
Yeah, of course. You're the mediator.
I think it would be the best thing possible that Barry Ferguson, for all parties, Barry included, that he isn't given that Rangers job, because he will turn into an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of Man United.
You think so?
Yeah. The problem's addressing him. If Barry Ferguson can come in, and he has, and I don't have any doubt at all, he's conducted himself very well. He said all the right things. He's put a boot up a few of the players. Absolutely no doubt about that. If that's what's required for you to then start performing for Rangers,
you shouldn't be there.
You shouldn't be there. And they're gonna let him down again next season. Yeah. There has to be a redress of that, and I think the new ownership comes in and sorts like, you can't. Yeah. Rangers cannot give Barry Ferguson that job and that coaching staff that job. And there's nothing against him personally, but I think it'd be brilliant for Barry Ferguson to do what he's doing at the end of the season and then go and get a Kilmarnock job, Motherwell job, something like that, and build back up his stock. Because this man is the man who his last job in football before he was an ambassador at Rangers was, well, I think he resigned actually from Alloa, to be fair to him, so I don't want to misquote it. But his last job in football was Alloa, 2.5 years. You can't be Rangers manager.
I don't want to stick up for Barry Ferguson, and that's not what I'm doing to any Celtic fans watching. But it reminds me of the Lennon appointment. But
Neil Lennon had a lot of experience.
He did. He was managing Celtic's B team, I think, at the time, but he didn't have any major managerial experience. And Lennon then took the job. Didn't win the league in his first full season, but you can't argue with the brilliant job he did after that. Including the famous Champions League run and the Champions League nights, blah blah blah. So sometimes there is a connection between a person and a football club that maybe means your CV is less important. Brendan Rodgers talked the talk, said he didn't see a big difference between Barry Ferguson's team and Philip Clement's team, and still got his pants filled down in front of, in Celtic Park in front of 60,000 people.
Yeah. So nice.
Yeah,
loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I think Brendan's got a lot of questions to answer.
You can say that Brendan Rodgers had his pants pulled and he's had a bad day at the office. He's still going to win a treble, and he's still.
I do think the way maybe it was a bit arrogance. Maybe it's a bit arrogance from him. Yeah, I understand you can say that, but at the same time, it's showing a bit of arrogance when in January we had the same.
Celtic have conceded 9 goals in the last 3 derbies. That's and had 70% possession in each of them. And if you can't spot that pattern, then what are you getting paid $6 million a year for? Like, he's spent the whole time bigging up the trebles. Game. Well, he spent the whole time bigging up the game and saying how much it means to people, and then proceeds to change absolutely nothing.
I think, honestly, I just think it was an ego thing from your manager. I just don't think he respects Rangers.
It's a miracle.
Oh my God.
We have full agreement.
And I can't believe I'm actually not me. I don't agree with that. I don't think it is. I think Barry Ferguson.
Oh no, I'm not saying Barry didn't do well, but
had a bit. By the way, your most important player on the park was Raskin, who you can actually draw similarities to Ferguson as players. Not just on the ball, but see when you watch this, listen, we always say this on the pod, when you're watching football live and stuff, you pick up different things and you watch different players and that. I tried to watch as much as Raskin as possible. His leadership is unbelievable. The way that he plays the game in terms of the dark arts as well. I think he maybe went down about 5 times, and he went down at the points where the players were struggling, and it was almost like a signal from Ferguson of like, Raskin goes down, you all run over and get water and get instructions. And you can say it's cheating, and that's a different debate.
Some people do different things with the water.
But it was part of the game, and that's what was required to win it. So and if anything, 3-2 actually flattered Celtic, to be honest with you. I mean, it could have been anything first half.
I agree. We were so lucky not to be 3-0 down when Czerny inexplicably decided not to use his right foot,
or just pass,
Unbelievable. That 45 minutes from Celtic is, it's important to zoom out and go.
Very much so.
Look at the season as a whole, but there's Celtic fans out there that will win a treble, but if we lose 3 games to Rangers, they'll still not consider that a stellar season, because these, as Brendan Rodgers said this week, these are the games that matter.
Yeah, but you still put 12 points clear, and that can happen. And 13, sorry. It's just, it's a derby, and they did a number on you. And I think the only thing I would say is I think Celtic maybe bought into the tired legs more than Rangers did. It was kind of made up in the mainstream media that Rangers are going to turn up and be tired, and my God, they were absolutely on it from the first minute.
I think it was evident though that we did tire in the second half. I think, like you said earlier, Liam Balling going off made a massive difference. I just don't think Robin Probert is suited to Scottish football.
It was being in the stadium as well. It was weird. Like, the Celtic goal just seemed so strange. The first one, Howes Maeda won that header. Yeah, it didn't look real. And in the second one, it seemed like Luke McCowan honestly took about 5 minutes to pass that ball.
He just had all the space, and
it was weird. It was a great finish, by the way, but just weird. And then I almost took the Celtic fans a couple of seconds to actually start celebrating, because they couldn't believe that they just scored 2 goals because they were that bad.
Exactly that. We saw when the goal went, and even watching on the telly, the goal went in, and we went, oh.
Yeah,
how's this happened?
I was pacing up and doing my living room at that point.
Yeah. The only 2 Celtic players to come out with any credit from that game, in my opinion, are, well, maybe 3 at push. I'd say Maeda, Jota, and Nawrocki.
I thought Nawrocki did quite well.
He played 23 minutes all season.
Yeah, but they conceded 3 goals.
I think Carter Vickers was the biggest liability.
Biggest disappointment was Kuhn, right? He was pretty bad. He couldn't take on Ridvan. I mean, I think Ridvan did well. He had his number. He was aggressive. I really liked his approach to the game. just thought we did really well. We matched Celtic, and I do think we've not shown this level of disdain for Celtic. We've given Celtic too much respect.
Yeah, that's what
over
I said
the years. You know,
you're over that mental block that you had against Celtic, and Nicholas Kuhn, like he's back to where he's got it all to prove again, and I think he's checked out. I think he's gone. I've had a really good start to the season. That's all.
They're never going to last though at Rangers or Celtic with that
pathetic performance. There's quite a few Celtic players that had a pathetic performance, but Kuhn was definitely one of them. That free kick he took that just went over everyone's head and went out to the byline. I was just, how is that the same guy that scored against Leipzig from 30 yards? Like, what is?
Do you know still having my either for Barcelona?
I knew you were going to ask that question. And
Barcelona that put 4 past Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, I still think Maida's world class.
I thought he was shocking.
I was just about to say, I think through the middle it wasn't great, and then went wide.
He runs, that's absolutely not in any doubt, and he genuinely gives everything. But there was a few times I was like, oh my goodness, like just touches.
I've forgotten you've been to one game now, so you're an expert on him. That's
I won more game than you.
That's not true. That is
statistically
not true.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? Just a wee bit of infighting in the boy in the bear office is fantastic.
Well, Scott, so to contain the fighting, I've not even come to you for your coming piece, please. So restore order to the podcast, please.
Restore nothing. My question to you, Pat, or my coming piece is actually, why the fake outrage over a wee bit of water? It's supposed to be a derby, right? Just why are you involving the police? It's for a scoosh of a bottle of water. I mean, come on. Would you say that's over the top or justified? I mean, to me, it's a derby. It's a bit of a laugh. Let's just all calm down. All right.
Honestly, can I just say before you answer this that the amount of, and this doesn't justify it because he was wrong to do what he did, but the amount of abuse they receive on that touchline.
Exactly.
They're so close
they're getting dogs abuse for 90 minutes, and then you go and score a winner against your greatest rivals. You're a wee bit over exuberant with a celebration. Calm down. Some guys complaining about his schedules. You know what I mean? Calm down, mate. It's fine. It's just a bit of water. It'll dry off. But then what I think you can maybe agree with me, Pat, is when you go over to celebrate with your fans and you're getting hit with getting hit with objects. That's not acceptable. But it's a bit of water. It's a derby. Let's just all calm down. Remember, we're supposed to be rivals, and you guys have had it all your own way for a long time. So.
Are you answering my question for me? Or?
Probably I am. Just it's been pent up for 2 days. Come on.
If he's celebrating like that after winning a game where they're 13 points behind, imagine he actually wins a trophy.
Oh, he's not going to come back. He'll be in the hospital.
My personal opinion on it, Scotty, is I think getting the police involved, something like that, is way off the top.
Who got the police involved? Sorry,
Celtic.
The football club or the fans?
No. The fans complained. The fans complained to Celtic.
I can understand a fan complaining. Like, listen, if you went up to this, it's the old cliche of if you went up to someone on the street and just sold them, like, you can't do it.
But he's
overreacted. I don't think it's a police matter. It's the kind of thing that will get blown over in ages. But Cherny knows that he's going to get that reaction. To act surprised when you squirt water at folk and they react in a derby, that. Yeah, knows what he's doing. My opinion is I'm not that bothered about it. If it was
but wipe me a nose on a Rangers flag in the corner and gets a reaction.
If it was exactly
both teams have done it,
it's tit for tat. These things happen. I'm not personally that insulted by it. Had it been on someone who is vulnerable or absolutely. I know a number of disabled fans sit in the front rows of these places, and but I don't want to get into the weeds of it. On the face of it, it's a trivial thing that shouldn't take up police time. But
has he issued an apology?
No, and he shouldn't.
He probably should issue it.
I can understand that in the heat of the moment of doing it, and especially because that's the first time obviously away fans have been back in the stadium.
We've not won there in 5 years either. Do you mean? So it's a lot of over exuberance. We've all been there. We've all played sports. We've all been in a heated battle with a rival team. And you get one over them, you're quite excited, and
it's a bit low life behaviour to squirt water at a crowd. It just is,
I mean, I see. I get it. It's just I think that it's been over the top. Why can't you just accept you lost? I mean, it's not. I saw a few videos complaining about the referee.
But I don't think I don't think it's about. I think Celtic fans accept that they lost, and they accept the reason they lost is because of Celtic's dire performance. Like that's not in question. I agree. I don't think this is a police matter. I think it's mountains and molehill stuff. But there's absolutely no denying that Tierney should not have done that.
No, he shouldn't have done it.
He will probably get a ban because you can't interact with the crowd with any sort of physicality. You just can't. So
it's funny.
He'll deserve that. Take it. If the shoe was on the other foot, however, I'd like to. It would be the exact same thing. For the club that say always going about standards and how we hold ourselves in the highest regard, we'll be soaking when he wins the league, then, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, Rangers have got the European campaign, and they've probably got the hardest team in the competition with Atletico Bilbao actually hosting the final. I don't know if you boys caught the Rome game, but my God, they're a team.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah.
What represents domestic success for Barry Ferguson from now to the end of the season? What gets him that job outside European campaign? Or is it all about Europe?
If he can go the rest of the season unbeaten, take the momentum that's been built this week, carry it forward, I think he might do himself no harm. I do think Atletico Bilbao will be a wee bit of a step too far. I just think they're very good. They'll be.
But you keep saying that, and you've said that when you got to the final. Do you know what I mean? It actually works in your favour having playing those sorts of teams, doesn't it?
I'm so done with writing Rangers off. And
I know.
I just don't understand it anymore.
No, but I said this to you, we're an absolute basket case. I said in my preview video, I thought that Celtic game would be a draw.
Where can people watch the preview videos, Scott?
TikTok, Boy Bear Pod. But, and then the preview video for the Fenerbahce game, I was correct that we lost, but we went through. But you don't know. I didn't see the 3-1 result coming, so you just can't write this team off. Just when you think they're going to lose or they're going to win, they do the opposite. So it's going to be interesting.
Do you know what I think? See, from the outside looking into Rangers, the true acid test now is winning your next game. Because how many times have we said you win the ones that matter, and then you go away and you blow that?
Yeah.
What is your next game?
Rangers have got Dundee, do not
it? It is Dundee. I was looking at it. It's Dundee.
It's Dundee. So I'm glad you're paying attention because I've been celebrating. Thanks, cheers, pal. Thanks.
But
got worried.
The Ibrox game, where Celtic got dispatched. Celtic then come back and win their next game and go on a mini run to effectively seal the league. Rangers don't build on clawing the gap back, but by losing. So I think you're right back where you started if you don't win your next game.
It'll be interesting because obviously he's been talking about like Nico, and you see the interviews with Diamandi and Barron and how he's doing individual work with them as midfielders, and so it'll be interesting.
You gave Nico his first name there.
I love the boy. Love the boy.
Right,
I've besties.
He's one you need to keep in that team.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it might be that if he goes away and does a good show with Belgium this week.
He's in the Belgium squad.
Yes. In the Belgium squad.
Is Engels in the Belgium squad?
Nope.
Yes. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, so that was because I saw on X there was a few tweets about how Engels is the better Belgian, and Sunday would prove that, and obviously Engels went missing. So it's interesting to see how Nico Raskin gets on in the Belgian squad. I do think if he does well, it might be a bit of a task to try and keep him, but then again with these new owners you never know what
you'd rather your players playing well, mate. You're at that stage. A wee question for you, Pat. What frightens you more, Steven Gerrard being Rangers manager, Barry Ferguson being Rangers manager, or I believe it is
Jose Mourinho?
I've seen Jose Mourinho, yeah. Actually, we'll go with A3.
Fans at full time.
Go with A3.
So did you see he came into the home dressing room after the game?
No,
he came in to shake Barry's hand. Oh, absolutely. Jose's gunning for the job.
Sorry, Steve. Who was the third one?
Jose Mourinho.
No, I think that's odd stand just now. I'll just get them up. Actually, give me 2 seconds. The favourites for the Rangers manager are Russell Martin, Barry Ferguson, or Steven Gerrard. With Jose Mourinho coming in fourth at 10-1, which is mind blowing. Which of the top three would frighten you most as a Celtic fan on the first day of next season?
I think frightened is the wrong word.
I know. I'm just trying to get.
I know. He's just trying to get the
clickbait.
This is exactly. I can see the caption already. What would frighten me most is any of those managers coming in a situation where Rangers invest and Celtic stand still, and I know that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but I think
Just a bit.
I think Gerrard and Ferguson seem sort of much of a muchness. I don't think Gerrard's much of a manager. The Champions League and the general domestic form has saved Rodgers this season. If we can deliver the treble and invest in the squad, we've got players like Tierney coming in next season that will hopefully make a big impact. I'm confident enough that Celtic have got enough in them to work out why these derbies have been so tragic and leave an impact. I think Gerrard returning to Rangers would be a big misstep for them. I don't actually rate him as a coach. Amazing player. I don't think he was that good a manager. I think Ferguson's doing a good job. Is it too early to tell? And then Russell Martin, got sacked by Southampton, who are bottom.
I don't want Russell Martin.
That's a bit unfair on Russell Martin.
No, I don't want him.
Possibly, and I've met Russell Martin, and he's a nice man. But I can't really answer your question, mate. But I'm sorry, it feels like a cop out. But none of them scare me.
Well, I'll give it to the Rangers fan to finish up, shall I? Scotty, who would you rather be in the dugout next season?
Oh, mate.
Definitely. And a little bit of caveat to the question: do you see any situation where Barry Ferguson is on the coaching staff for any of those managers?
Yeah, I think I don't see Russell Martin. I think he did an interview with Sky, basically saying he wasn't interested. He's wanting another job down south, so that's fine. Don't want you anyway. Bye bye. Gerrard, I do agree. I don't think he's much of a coach. I think he's more of a figurehead.
You've changed your tune.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
There's your clickbait.
There you go. I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't rate him. What I'm saying is it depends on who his team is. I think he needs a team. I think he really needs a strong team behind him. I think he's a great figurehead. I think he sets the standards. I've said that before.
Can count to 11.
12 actually, can count to 12.
Makes it even worse for Rodgers, by the way.
But I do think he is the figure. It just depends on who he would get around him, and I don't think Beale would be welcome back as a coach.
Beale would be welcome back at any point.
I'm sure he would, but not for us. He wouldn't. But yeah, I think I don't think Barry's done himself any harm really in giving himself the best opportunity.
Are any of you actually going to give me an answer?
I was just about to get there. I would love to see Jose Mourinho. Big class.
He's not going to take it though, is he? So I'm going
He might.
appreciate.
But what I'm saying is,
not a chance.
But if Barry, I think
if
Jose Mourinho is the Rangers manager, I can see Barry Ferguson becoming his assistant. Apart from that, I don't think Gerrard and Barry would work too well together. I think too big egos.
Too combative.
Yeah, they're both pretty much the exact same, right? They're both very similar in player type, like in your face. Like they both set standards. I just don't think they would work well together. So Jose Mourinho and Barry Ferguson. There you go. There's your answer.
Oh wow!
Both managers that have defeated Celtic in big games.
Well, I think it's fair to just finish on that point there, where Scotty's genuinely thinking that Jose Mourinho is going to be Rangers manager.
Imagine, the city of Glasgow could not cope. They might. He's getting a lot of flack in Turkey from the Turkish FA, so can't wait to see what he does with the Scottish FA.
You've been listening to The Boy and the Bear. You can email us your questions or complaints at theboyandthebear@gmail.com, and please do follow us on Instagram and TikTok at BoyBearPod. And these podcasts also go on our YouTube channel, which is The Boy and the Bear Podcast.
Hail, lads.
Follow, and in Barry we trust.
See you next time, lads.
See you later.